Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to my studio. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make the Sally Cardi wrap vest. A Cardi wrap vest is such a versatile layering piece. Dress it up or down, the drape of the yarn and lace is a showstopper either way. Each strip is joined as you go to the previous strip. It's a lot of fun to make. In the video, we're going to go over how to read the pattern, how to understand the schematic, and how to read the chart as well as written instructions. Then I will show you how to make one strip, and then finally I'll show you how to join a second strip to the first strip. We'll be using Be So Fine yarn, which is my 100% bamboo yarn that is #1 fingering weight. You can download the Sally Cardi wrap vest at my website, or it is also part of the Layers Crochet ebook, which you can also download. There will be links to everything you need in the video description. We'll also be using a size E crochet hook, which is 3.5 millimeter. Let's get started. You may be wondering, what is a Cardi wrap vest? And what this is a two-dimensional flat piece of fabric that simply has two holes in the center of it that you can insert your arms to drape it over your shoulders and wear it as a draped vest. Now, we have also sized this in several sizes to fit up to sizes 34, 38, 42, 46, and 50-inch bust. Basically, we're having a small, medium, large, XL, and 2X. If you're unsure of which size you would wear, you can pay attention to the dimensions listed on the schematic. Also on the schematic, it shows you each of the strips. We're going to make each one of these strips individually and then join them to the other strips as we go, like you would if you were making crocheted motifs. Just think of them as long, skinny crochet motifs. So at the top of the vest, we've got 2 long strips. Then we have 6 short strips here in the middle because we want to keep these 2 areas open for the armhole openings. So we're going to make a short strip and just join it partially, short, join it partially, short, join it partially, and so on and so forth for those 6. And then come to this motif and we'll be joining it the full length like the first 2 up here. If you wanted to modify the length of the collar or the length of the lower edge, this is where you could also modify that. You could add more strips to the top or take away from the bottom, either way. And then we have the written instructions as well as the chart instructions for each of the strips. You'll want to pay attention to how many rows to make your strips long, depending on what size and what part of the pattern you're making. So regardless of what size you're making, you're going to have one size strip for the full length of the wrap and then a couple of shorter sizes for the right front, left front, and the center back. Also based on what size you're making. For the demonstration purposes today, I'm going to make this reduced size swatch or reduced size strip based on what the chart actually shows, and that way we can go over exactly what the chart means as we go. I'll be using Be So Fine yarn in colorway Passionate Plum today. We're going to start by tying our yarn to our crochet hook. Okay, and I'm going to show you on here what the first row is. For row 1, we're going to chain 11 loosely, and then we're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from our hook, chain 2, 4 double crochets, skip 2 chains, 4 double crochets in the next chain, chain 2, skip 2 chains, and then 1 double crochet each in the last 2 chains. That's row 1. So now I'll show you how to do that with the yarn. So we'll start by chain 11 loosely, and then we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from our hook. You don't want to count the loop on your hook, that's your working loop, so we'll count back 1, 2, 3, and 4. double crochet is yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. If you need any additional help with any of the stitches that we're using today, I do have a very large playlist of individual stitch videos that could help you get a little extra help on any of the stitches. I'll link that in the video description as well. We're going to chain 2, skip the next 2 chains, and in the next chain work 4 double crochets. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Whoops, let's do that again. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. 1 double crochet. We're going to do 3 more in that same chain. Chain 2, skip the next 2 chains, and then work 1 double crochet in each of the last 2 chains. And that's what the end of row 1 should look like. I'm going to look back at the chart now for beginning row 2. Row 2 begins with a chain 4, and we're going to work a treble crochet in the space between the first 2 double crochets on the previous row. Chain 2, then work 4 treble crochets in between those 4 stitches on the row below, chain 2, and then 2 treble crochets between the next 2 stitches on the row below. Now I'll show you what that means with the yarn. So we'll chain 4, turn our work, and now working in between these first 2 stitches, we're going to yarn over twice. This is a treble crochet, yarn over twice, insert your hook in between the space between the 2 stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 2. Now when we come to the 4 stitches on the previous row, we're going to work in the space between the 2nd and 3rd stitch. So we're going to work 4 trebles there. Yarn over twice, insert your hook in the space between the 4 stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We have 1 treble crochet in there. We're going to do 3 more. Chain 2, and then work 2 treble crochets in between the last 2 stitches of the previous row. And that's what row 2 should look like. I'm going to refer back to the chart now for row 3. Row 3 is chain 5 and work a double treble crochet in the space between the first 2 stitches. Chain 2, work 4 double treble crochets in the space between the 4 trebles on the row below. Chain 2 and work 2 double trebles in the space between the last 2 stitches on the row below. Now I'll show you how to do that with our yarn. Chain 5, turn our work, and now in the space between those first 2 stitches, we're going to work a double treble. Yarn over 3 times, insert your hook in the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, 2 loops on your hook, and 2 loops on your hook. Chain 2. Now we're going to work 4 double treble crochets in the space between the 4 stitches on the previous row. So yarn over 3 times, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 and we'll work 3 more double treble crochets in that same space. Chain 2, And then in the space between the last 2 stitches on the previous row, we're going to work 2 more double treble crochets. And that's what the end of row 3 should look like. For row 4, starts here. We're going to chain 4 and work a treble crochet in the space between the first 2 stitches, chain 2, work 4 treble crochets in the space between the 4 stitches in the row below, chain 2 and 2 treble crochets in the space between the last 2 stitches on the row below. And I'll show you what that looks like. With the yarn, chain 4, turn our work. Treble crochet is yarn over twice, insert your hook in the space, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We work that in the space between the first 2 stitches, chain 2. Now we're going to work 4 treble crochets in the space between the 4 stitches on the previous row. This is what the end of row 4 should look like. Notice at the beginning of row 5, we're starting in this yellow shaded area. The yellow shaded area is our 4-row repeat that we will be repeating throughout the pattern. But just so you, and you can also see that it is repeating what we did for the first 4 rows. The only difference and really why it has to be shaded up here instead of from the beginning is because this row is worked into a row below and this row was worked into the chain spaces. So basically we've done everything we need to do, but I'll show you this first row again, row 5. We're going to chain 3, work a double crochet into the space between the first 2 stitches on the row below, chain 2, work 4 double crochets in the space between the 4 stitches on the row below, chain 2, and 2 double crochets in the space between the last 2 stitches on the row below. So let's do that with the yarn now. Chain 3, counts as our first double crochet, I suppose, and we're going to turn our work, and in the space between the first 2 stitches we'll work a double crochet, chain 2, in the space between the next 4 stitches we're going to work 4 double crochets, chain 2, and then in the space between the last 2 stitches on the previous row we'll work 2 more double crochets. And this is what the end of row 5 should look like. I'm going to work rows 6, 7, 8, and 9 and at the end of this row I will show you how to do the joining round. Okay, I've done all the rows for my strip, so now I'm going to show you how to do the joining round that covers the entire strip in a circle. And we're going to start up here where we ended the last row of the strip. We're going to start with a chain 4 and 4 treble crochets in the space between those last 2 stitches. Single crochet in the last stitch, then 5 treble crochets in that end of row. single crochet in the next end of row, 5 treble crochets in the next end of row. I'll explain further when we get further along, but let's do what we just talked about now with the yarn. So we've finished our last row of the strip, and we're going to chain 4, which counts as our first treble crochet. In that space between those last 2 stitches, we'll work 4 more trebles. Yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that 3 more times. Okay, now we're going to single crochet in the last stitch on the previous row. Single crochet is to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now turning our work, so we're working sideways now along the end of rows of the strip. We're going to work 5 treble crochets in the end of the row along that side of the last stitch of the last row work. So yarn over twice, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and we'll work 4 more treble crochets in that same stitch, same end of row. Okay, now when we come to the next end of row, we'll work a single crochet. And we're going to alternate the end of rows with 5 treble crochets and 1 single crochet all the way across. Okay, see how when we started our joining round, we started at the top of the strip and then turned the corner to work along the end of rows. We've now come to our last end of row here. So as we finish our last end of row, we'll be turning the corner to work along the opposite end of the strip. So we're going to start by working our 5 treble crochets in the final end of row. Then we're going to work a single crochet in the corner and then work 5 treble crochets in the space before the next stitch. And then single crochet in the next space before the next set of stitches. I'm going to set this down now and compare this to the chart so you can see what we just did. So we started up here, we turned our work and worked along the end of rows here, and now we just did that last set of 5 trebles, single crochet in the first chain, and then we did 5 trebles in the space before the next stitch. So that's where we are right here. So now we'll work 5 trebles opposite the 5 doubles. So now we'll work our next set over the first set of stitches there, single crochet in the chains, then 5 trebles in between the first 2 stitches on the previous row, single crochet, turn our work, and then work along the end here. So I'll show you that now with the yarn. Okay, we're going to work opposite the 4 double crochets on the first row of the work, and we'll work 5 treble crochets in that same space. Then we'll work a single crochet in the space before the next set of stitches. And then we're going to work 5 treble crochets in the space between the last 2 stitches on the opposite end of that row. Okay, we're going to single crochet right in the corner. Then we're going to turn our work and work 5 treble crochets in the end of row of that first row now. And before we do that, I guess I could show you here as well. So now this is where we started. We worked along this end of row, we turned our work, we worked across here, we single crocheted in the corner, and now we're turning our work and working along the end of rows here. Okay, so along that first end of row, we're going to work 5 treble crochets. And we will single crochet in the next end of row. And in the next end of row, we'll work 5 treble crochets. Single crochet in the next end of row. So we're going to alternate working 5 treble crochets in one end of row and 1 single crochet in the next end of row, and repeat that all the way across. We've finished all the way across the end of rows here, so it's now time to turn our last corner. So we're going to single crochet in the corner, then work 5 treble crochets in the space between those first 2 stitches at the beginning of the row, single crochet in the space before the next set of stitches, 5 treble crochets in the space between the next 4 stitches, single crochet in the space before the next set of stitches, and then we'll slip stitch to join in the top of the chain 3 at the beginning of the round. And we've completed our round for the first strip. Now going forward, all of the rest of the strips will be done exactly the same way, except on one side of the strip we'll be joining it to another strip. And it's really simple. It's a lot simpler than it seems. In the next segment, I'll show you how we join these strips together by adding a slip stitch as we work along the edge of this strip to join it to the opposite strip. Okay, so I have my one finished strip, and now I want to show you how we join a new strip to a previous strip. And basically we're doing exactly the same thing. We're going to be making our alternating 5 treble crochets in one end of row, 1 single crochet in the next end of row, 5 trebles, 1 single, 5 trebles, 1 single, and so on, all the way down, just like we did in the other strip. But in the middle of that 5 treble crochet section, we're going to slip stitch to the same spot on the 5 treble crochet section on the adjacent strip. So right now I've turned my corner and I'm working on my first set of 5 treble crochets on this strip, and I've got 2 treble crochets done so far. I'm going to do my third, because if you're looking for the center point, that would be your third treble of the 5. So after you finish your third treble crochet, you're going to come here to the adjacent motif, the adjacent strip, and we're going to slip stitch into that third of 5 shells, into that third of 5 double crochets, like that. Okay, so we slip stitched into that stitch, then we'll come back to our working strip and finish up putting 2 more treble crochets in that same end of row. And then we'll single crochet in the next end of row, just like we did on the other strip. And I'll set this down now so you can see what it looks like. So you'll see we did our 5 treble crochet shell, but in the middle of it we did 1, 2, 3, slip stitched to the opposite center treble crochet on the shell on the adjacent strip, and then came back and did treble 4 and 5 to complete our 5 trebles, then single crochet in the next end of row. We're going to do that same thing again in the next end of row. We're going to do treble 1, 2, 3, slip stitch, treble 4 and 5. Okay, so treble 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll refer back to our previous strip, find the center treble crochet of the 5 treble crochets, slip stitch into the top of that 3rd treble, then come back to our working strip and complete that shell with trebles 4 and 5. And then we'll single crochet in the next end of row. I'm going to set this down again so you can see our progress. Okay, so now we have this shell joined to this shell with a slip stitch in the center, same with this one, and we're going to do that again for each of the next 3 shells along this side of the strip to join it to the strip on the shells on the adjacent strip. So we'll start with trebles 1, 2, and 3 in the next end of row. Slip stitch into the center treble crochet in the adjacent strips next shell, and then we'll come back to our working strip and work trebles 4 and 5 in that same end of row. And then we'll single crochet in the next end of row. And we'll set this down so you can see the progress. We've now completed the entire joining side of the one strip to the previous strip, and so now to complete that round of this strip, we will turn our work and work across the top, just like we did with the previous strip and just like it shows on the chart. I thought you might like to see a side-by-side version of this with the finished vest so you could see. Okay, so just to show you here, here's the center of our strips and here's the joining round. And you see the joining round is joined to the joining round on the next strip with a slip stitch in the center of the shells. And you do this for all of the strips all the way down. This is colorway Parisian Bordeaux in Be So Fine yarn, and this is colorway Passionate Plum. If you follow the links in the video description, you can get more information on ordering Be So Fine yarn. You can also get information on downloading the Sally Cardi Wrap Vest pattern or downloading the Layers Crochet ebook. If you have any questions, please leave them for me in the comments. Let us make time to create, share, and inspire today and every day. I'll see you next time. Bye.